Okay, we are a few days before Purim, and one of the things that we should know, every Chag that we have, every holiday in the Jewish calendar, it's called Purim by itself. It's not actually called Chag, because Chag is only the thing, the holidays from the Torah that you bring a korban in Beis Hamikdash. The Chag is the korban, but every holiday, every Yom Tov that we have during the year, we celebrate it year after year after year. We could do it in the same way, which is very sad. We could upgrade it from year to year, which is what needed. So we're here now to learn something that maybe could enhance our Purim, or understanding what Purim was. So the title is Purim V'Nahafochu. There is something very deep in this. Let's try to learn it. The Midrash says, there are a few Midrashim, but that speaks in different words about the same idea, that at the end of days, when the ultimate Geula will come, all the holidays will be not relevant anymore, but Purim. Actually, the Rambam brings one version of the Medrash, and he says the following: כל ספרי הנביאים וכל הכתובים עתידים להתבטל לעתיד לבוא, חוץ ממגילת אסתר. And he speaks about Nevi'im and Ksuvim. Nevi'im and Ktuvim are the last two letters of the three Tanakh, Torah, Nevi'im, and Ktuvim. So the Torah is Torah Hashem, the Torah is Nitzchit, the Torah is eternal. It was before the world, it will be after. So the Torah is eternal. But the Nevi'im and Ktuvim, says the Midrash, gonna be not relevant at the time of the ultimate Geula. All the Moadim that in the Nevi'im and Ktuvim will be not needed anymore, and let me explain what. What actually Nevi'im, we have in the Nevi'im and Ktuvim, what holidays we have in the Nevi'im and Ktuvim. So we have very sad holidays that added in the time of the Nevi'im and Ktuvim, which is Tisha B'Av. At the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, was no Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is a destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, and Beit HaMikdash could be destructed or not, up to our Bechira, our choice, and we choose wrong, and we cause Beit HaMikdash to be destroyed, and therefore we have on the Jewish calendar Tisha B'Av, but it's not just Tisha B'Av. We have Asara B'Tevet, we have Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, and we have Tzom Gedalia. All those 4 days that Jews mention or do every year, that will not be relevant anymore at the ultimate Geula, when the third Beit HaMikdash, the eternal one, will be rebuilt. Okay? Purim is also one of the holidays that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't celebrate, and not David HaMelech, and not Shlomo HaMelech. The entire event happened at the time of Galut Bavel, 2 years before the rebuilding of Beit Sheni. 2 years before the rebuilding of Beis Hamikdash was the story of Purim. Now, the Medrash says that even though, and Megillas Esther that describes the story of Purim is in the Ksuvim, in the Nevi'im and Ktuvim, but Ktuvim is the Megillas Esther. So, what we see from here, the Medrash says that even though all the other holidays, meaning the fasts that we have for the destruction of Beit HaMikdash, will not be relevant, Purim will be relevant even at the time of Mashiach, at the time of the ultimate Geula. So, why? We'll try to explain why. What's so special about Purim? So, what was the story of Purim? We're going to read the Megillah, and we read the Megillah last year, and I believe those people who are here now read the Megillah many times in the last few years, since you understand what you're doing when you were a kid. Okay? So the story basically is known. But let me show it in a way that maybe you never thought about this before. The Megillah started with the party. There was two parties, if you will notice. The first party was for the administration of Achashverosh, Apartemim, Sarei HaMedinot. But the second party was for the people of Shushan. It was a party of 7 days. The party was for the citizens of Shushan HaBira. לכל העם הנמצאים בשושן הבירה. So among the people in Shushan HaBira was many Jews too. And they invited to this party. The Medrash says that they asked the Sanhedrin if to go or not, and the Sanhedrin said don't go. Sanhedrin said don't go. And in a way it was hard for them because there are no obvious reason why not to go. The food is kosher because the king says "La'asot kirtzon ish va'ish." So any food that you want, not kosher, not kosher, vegetarian, meat, chicken, whatever you want, with the best hechsher. V'ashtiya kadat enones. You want wine? Take wine. You want kosher wine that a goy never touched? Fine. Yikve Rishon LeZion, Yikve Zichron Yaakov. Everything was in the hechsher habadatz, in the best kirtzon ish va'ish. Now the king is a new king. Bishnat Shalosh Mulcho, he made this, in the 3rd year of his kingdom, he made this party. And he invited the citizen of Shushan. If the Jews will not go, it will be insulting the king. So diplomatically, and you have to know, we are already, at the time, 60-something years in exile. And he's now the ruler. Why not to go? Why not to go? So when they asked the Sanhedrin, the Sanhedrin said, don't go. Of course, many people didn't feel comfortable with this. I believe if it was at the time newspapers like the leftist of today, like Haaretz and Yediot Achronot and all of those, they'll say, what's the Rabbanim understand in politics? They are so fanatic because of their extreme opinion when there is no reason, everything is kosher, everything is fine. Why not to go? And you know what? Many people go. Many people went. Many Jews went at the time. Okay? Fine, it was a party. It seems like everything is fine, but... So actually, you know what? Let's ask ourselves, why the Rabbanim said don't go? The food is kosher, right? Separate seating. Separate seating. It was separate seating. It was mishte nashim v'mishte anashim separate. So why not to go? Food-wise, maybe. But you know how much you could eat? 7 days. How much you could eat every day? How much? So you finish eating a very fancy meal. You now could not eat anymore. So what are you going to do now? Entertainment, right? What kind of entertainment? Many kinds. What was the entertainment there? Choosing the beauty, the beautiful lady. Right? And that would happen. That what Jews should do in parties? I mean, what you could do in parties of going? After you eat kosher. What do you do after, right? Therefore, don't go. And they went. They went. In the 7th day, everyone knows, the king got so drunk, he invited his wife to come to show everyone how beautiful she was. Of course, without clothes, and she refused to come, not because she was so tzanua, something happened to her, so she didn't feel comfortable to come. Then what happened? Then was one of the servants of Achashverosh. Listen, this year when you read the Megillah, be aware of this. It says that he advised with his advisors. And the names are there of the advisors. The last one, there were 7 advisors. The last one, number 7, was Memuchan. Says the Gemara, who is Memuchan? Memuchan is Haman. Why he was called Memuchan? Because, be aware of this. He is, says the Gemara, Hu Haman lapur'anut Muchan. This is Haman who is prepared for a punishment. Now let's follow it. The king asked the 7 advisor what to do with this rebel of the queen. He jumped, Memuchan. He was number 7. And it was, according to the hierarchy, he was not the important one. He jumped and said, you have to kill her. Because if it will be publicized that she didn't listen to the king, לא על המלך לבדו עבדה ושתי המלכה, כי על כל הנשים והשרים. And he was one of the ministers. And he was afraid from his wife, Zeresh. So if Zeresh will hear that Vashti is not listening to the king, he's going to have a big problem with Shalom Bayit, with Zeresh. So he decided to jump in and say, kill her. The king thought that his advice is good. He killed Vashti. And look what happened now. Remember why he was called Memuchan? Because he is prepared to be punished. Now here's the amazing thing. He was the cause that Vashti was removed, and instead came Esther, that gonna be his hanger later on. He did it because of his initiation. He is the beginning point. But it's not just this. Continue. So what happened? Esther was taken to the king, the palace. Mordechai told her, go, because everyone go, you have no choice, go, but don't forget that you are Jewish, and don't say to anyone that you are Jewish, including the king. Now look at the amazing thing. She was taken. Haggai, the one who prepared the ladies before the king, they made their first interview, thought that she is a good case. But I thinking, practically, they gather ladies from all 127 states or cities or whatever. Yeah. I think that the basic thing was that when any lady came, she should fill an application, right? In the application will be written the basic details about her: name, place, nation, because he was the king of many nations. You want to know? Any man, not a king, any man who dates some girl will not want to know what nation she is from? Mordechai told her, don't. Could you imagine how could she pass this without? She didn't fill in the application from what nation she is. How could she? This is a miracle by itself. And she didn't even says her name. Her name was, the real name, is mentioned once in the entire Megillah, Hadassah. But no one knew her by Hadassah, by the name Hadassah. Esther, and the Megillah called on her name, on her fake name, Esther, not the real one. And the king knew her by this name. She didn't, because Mordechai said to her, don't say who you are. Okay, we passing the first interview with Haggai. Now her time come to meet the king. The king never asked her. How could it be? He never asked her. And by the way, time-wise, Achashverosh killed Vashti when he was in the 3rd year of his kingdom. Then was the part, right? The 3rd year. He married Esther Bishnat Sheva Lemolcho, meaning 4 years he was in dating. 4 years, looking for a new queen. So when you read the Megillah, you think it's happened in 40 minutes, depending on the Baal Koreh. But no, you have to know the entire Megillah, from the beginning to the end, was over 9 years. From Shnat Shalosh Lemolcho until Shnat 12, from the 3rd year to the 12th year. So the agenda, the timing was, the 3rd year he killed Vashti, the 7th year he married Esther without knowing that she is Jewish. Then, at the 12 years, were the decree of Haman. So everything took time. Right? We have to understand the timing. Now, the amazing thing is, only by the 12 years, she revealed, as we see in the Megillah, to Achashverosh that she is Jewish. The meaning is that for 5 years he was marrying her, do not know her name, her nation. This is unbelievable. So imagine, okay, the king, she came to the king chose her to be the queen. Was engagement party? I assume so. This king loved parties, so we will not skip the engagement party. Before the engagement party, normal guy wants to meet the parents of the lady. Probably the king also asked her, can I meet your parents? She said, you know what? Don't ask about them. The king was so in love with her, he said, oh, it's a boo-boo, okay, I didn't know that, but if it's not comfortable with you, I'll skip it. So he skipped it in the engagement party. In the wedding, under the chuppah, the parents were not there. He doesn't know anything. Amazing. Achashverosh put, after he made Vashti the queen, אחר הדברים האלה, גידל המלך אחשוורוש את המן. What is the meaning of גידל אחשוורוש את המן? He was number 7, remember? He was number 7, ממוכן. He put him number 1. וינשאו וישם את כיסאו מעל כל השרים. So from 7, instead of going normally to 6, to 5, he jumped him, he made him become number 1. ראש השרים, meaning the prime minister. In order to make it strong, he gave an order that no king ever before Achashverosh and after Achashverosh will dare to do. What is this? He gave an order, Achashverosh, that everyone will bow down to Haman. No king in the world will agree that any of his citizens will bow down to someone that's not the king. No one. And he did it. In order to make his jumping him from number 7 to number 1 official, valid, legitimate, he was there to do it. And here start all the problems, right? So Esther is in the house in the palace. Mordechai moved. He was in Shushan before, but he moved to be close to the queen, to Esther, without no one knows that there is a relation, any kind of relation between Mordechai and Esther. Because he was a member, a very senior member in the Sanhedrin, he knew 70 languages, and because of that, he could understand what Bigtan Vateresh was talking in order to kill the Achashverosh. So he delivered the message to Esther. Esther delivered to the king without saying that there is any relation. She said, the intelligence service told me this piece of information. Write it down. Who's the source? One Jew by the name of Mordechai who lives near the palace. So he heard it. It was written in his diary, in his book. And after all of that, after the entire thing is ready, now the play should start. Okay? Amazing. Then what happened? Achashverosh gave this order for everyone to bow down to Mordechai, to Haman. Mordechai refused. The Haman was told that Mordechai is not. He was very angry, out of proportion. You are the most important person in the kingdom after Achashverosh. Number 2, everyone bowing down to you. There is one Jew who's not. So shoot him. No, he wants to kill the entire nation. Because he understood that Mordechai has nothing personal toward you. It's a principle. And as long as there is one Jew in the entire world, any Jew will not bow down to him. So it's not Mordechai, it's the entire Jewish nation. So he decided to kill the entire nation. Fine. He has the authority in a way, but he has to still get a permission from his boss because he's under the king anyways. So what did he do? He made a lottery. Why lottery? What is the best day to get rid of the Jewish nation? lottery. And it fell on Adar. And the Gemara says that he was very happy about this. Why? Because Adar is the time that Moshe Rabbeinu, which is the leader of the Jewish nation, the one who redeemed them and made them a nation, he died in Adar. So he said, wow, it's a good sign. I could finish them off. If their leader died, meaning they died. What he doesn't know, that he was born in the same day. Let me show you the Gemara about this. The Gemara Masechus Megillah says the following: Hipil pur agorali. Says the Gemara, Tana, כיוון שנפל פור בחודש אדר, שמח שמחה גדולה. He was very happy, Haman, when the pur, the lottery, came on חודש אדר. אמר, נפל לי פור בירח שמת בו משה. משה רבנו די, this is a good sign. ולא היה יודע שבשבעה באדר מת ובשבעה באדר נולד. That he doesn't know. says רש"י, ובשבעה באדר נולד, דכתיב בין 120 שנה אנוכי היום, היום מלאו ימי ושנותיי. He was 120 years exactly. כדאי הלידה, says רש"י, שתכפר על המיתה. So even though he died, but he was born also. What kind of argument is this? So what if he was born in the same day? He died. What comes first? The born or the death? The born. Right? What comes last? The death. So if he dies, he's dead. But he doesn't know that Moshe Rabbeinu is Moshe Rabbeinu because he gave the Torah. The Torah is eternal. And therefore, when he was born, in order to do this amazing thing to connect the Jews with the Torah, it doesn't die when he died. The Torah is continuous, so the Torah is eternal. This is the meaning that כדאי הלידה שתכפר על המיתה. So, fine. So he got the day, right? Now he has to go to the king to get permission. So what happened? He got to the king and he gave him very short speech in order to get the permission to kill the Jews. The Gemara says in Masechet Megillah, לא היה אדם שידע להגיד לשון הרע על עם ישראל כמו המן. Many anti-Semites there are in the world. Never was a person like Haman that could say very poisoning things about the Jews in order to get validation that there are extra in the world. No one. He knew how to say it. Now, let's go to the Megillah, see what was the speech. Few words, not a big speech. Look at this, פרק ג' מגילת אסתר, פסוק ח'. ויאמר המן למלך אחשוורוש, ישנו עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד בין העמים בכל מדינות מלכותך. ודתיהם שונות מכל עם, ודתי המלך אינם עושים, ולמלך אין שווה להניחם. That's it. That's a speech. אם על המלך טוב ייכתב לעבדם. But what he said before, well, he tried to convince the king. Now you have to know, the Gemara says that Achashverosh and Haman was equally anti-Semites, equally wicked, both of them. Haman knew very well his boss, and he knew one thing. When he will come to the king, tell him, listen, I want to eliminate, kill one of the nations that you are king over. He knew that Achashverosh will not have any moral problem with this. Why? Because he was anti-Semite. But he thought, what could be the obstacles? And he said to himself, listen, this king loved parties. Parties cost money. What he will worry after if I offer him this? How the king get money? Taxes. You get taxes, right? So if I eliminate one of the nation, will be less taxes coming to the IRS, right? So he was prepared for this before, and he said, after he said all the speech, he said, אם על המלך טוב ייכתב לי לעבדם, ו10,000 כיכר כסף אשכול על ידי עושה המלאכה, להביא אל גנזי המלך. I will take care of the money. Don't worry. You're not going to lose financially from this. I will give you 10,000 big chunk of silver. Right? By the way, what was the response of the king? Surprised even Haman. ויסר המלך את טבעתו מעל ידו ויתנה לאמן בן עמדת האגגי, צורר היונים, ויאמר המלך לאמן, הכסף נתון לך, והעם לעשות לו כתוב בעיניך. Do whatever you want with the nation, kill them. I don't need your money. Says the Gemara, משל אחשוורוש והמן, the mashal, the parable, are like two neighbors that live next to each other. But here, like here in America, you could live, you know, not in Brooklyn, not in Queens, but you know, in the big America, you have people in New Jersey, let's say, two neighbors live next to each other. They could live next to each other for 20 years, not exchanging one word, and doesn't know even who. He just knows the face of the person, but he doesn't know the name. He doesn't care about it. So those two neighbors was next to each other. One of them has in his backyard a big mountain, a hill of dust. The other neighbor has a big hole in the middle of his backyard. So both of them could not use their backyard for anything. This is because of the hole, this is because of the mountain. Years it was like this. Once they came across each other, and the one with the hole in his backyard says to his neighbor, listen, hi, yeah, we're neighbor, right? I see that you have this mountain for years on your backyard. I have a hole, and I need dust, or I need ground to put in. How much you want for me? How much money you want in order for me to take the mountain that you have in your backyard? It's also bothering you probably. You could not do anything. Imagine that it will be a straight place. The neighbor told him, where were you until now? You know how many years I'm looking for someone. I was so busy. No one wants to take this dust. What shall I? Take it. Don't pay me for anything. You'll do me a big favor. That's the story. That's what the Gemara says. They were anti-Semites equally. He has no problem to kill the entire nation. הכסף נתון לך. I don't need your money. Just do with it whatever. But what was the speech? Let's analyze the speech. ויאמר המן למלך אחשוורוש, ישנו עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד בין העמים. What is the meaning of this? It's a contradiction. אחד is one and unified. מפוזר ומפורד is spread, is divided. So how you could say that in the same sentence? עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד. Deep, very deep. You know, he was anti-Semite and he knew the essence of the Jewish nation. We sang in Mincha of Shabbat, in the davening, in the tefillah of Shabbat afternoon, Mincha. אתה אחד ושמך אחד ומי כעמך ישראל ואחד בארץ. You know that, right? You're familiar with this? So we're saying that the Jewish nation is עם אחד. אתה אחד, Hashem is one, ושמך אחד ומי כעמך ישראל ואחד בארץ. How could you say such a thing about Jews? A unified people? Two Jews, three opinions. No one agree with anyone about anything. No one agree with themselves. So how could you say about the Jews that they are one nation? The answer is, we are one nation. In the entire history, it was one time that we all agreed about something without any opposition. No one. You know where was it? When Hashem gave us the Torah. It says, ויענו כל העם יחדיו, ויאמרו כל אשר דיבר השם נעשה ונשמע. We are the descendants of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu revealed the truth and he was fighting for it against the entire world. And we inherit that from him. We are his children. One time in the history, we saw the entire truth clearly. And Hashem came and revealed himself to us. It says in the Midrash that he Kara, he tear off all the barriers, Shiv'a Rekim, and the truth was so clear. When we all saw the truth so clear, we said together, Nasa v'nishma. Problem is that after Ma'amad Har Sinai, again came a lot of barriers and a lot of darkness. And since then, every Jew, and that's why we are so opinioned, we are care for the truth. But no one see the entire truth. Everyone see part of the truth. And what the part that I realize, I'm gonna fight for it. This is the truth. Why I do not agree with you? Because you see different angle of the truth and you do not see. It's not important for you what's important for me. Therefore, I divide it from you. But in the essence, we are one. When we divided ourselves as a nation from the truth of Sinai, we said Nasa v'nishma, right? We caused ourselves to lose the country, the land of Israel, to lose Bet HaMikdash, and to spread out all over the world in exile. And that's what Haman realized. Right now they are not one. They are one in their essence, but right now they are not one. The proof, they are in exile in all 127 states or countries, right? Therefore, we could hurt them. If they were one, unified with Hashem, Israel, V'oraita v'Kudsha B'richu Chad, like Ma'amad Har Sinai, there is no chance. But now they are divided. Therefore, let's kill them. ישנו עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד בין העמים בכל מדינות מלכותיך, ודתיהם שונות מכל עם. What is this? ודתיהם שונות מכל עם. That is not what you think. That, today, they translate that to religion. That's not true. That is not a religion, that is a law. A law is, like it says in the Megillah a few times, Bedatei Paras Umadai, meaning in the law, in the constitution, in the law of Paras Umadai. So what he said over here, those Jews, Datehem Shonot Mikol Am, their laws are different from every nation in the world. What is the meaning of this? Every nation is different than the other nation with their mentality, with their land, with their religion, with their law. So what's different about the Jews? What's so unique about the Jews? What's so not like everyone else? Let me tell you what. All the nations of the world has laws, but who made the laws? The people. They're scholars. They made the law. It's a human laws. What's so bothering the anti-Semite, and this is the root of anti-Semites about us, that our law we claim is not human laws, but godly laws. It came from God. Why so bothering? Because if I or any human being will make the law, I make it, I could break it, I could change it when it's not fit my interests or the interests of the society. And you could see what happened to laws all over the world. The laws of today is not the laws of tomorrow. The laws of today is not the laws of 20 years ago. Laws change, it's flexible. It means you could do whatever you want and make it a law. Do whatever you want, or the society want, and make it a law. That's the new law. But if there are the laws of God could not be changed. Therefore, instead of fitting the laws to you, you have to fit yourself to the law. That is annoying. That is disturbing. That's something that caused the problems. And they claim, says Haman to the king, that they have the absolute truth, the unchangeable laws, because they're not their laws, they got it from God. ודתיהם שונות מכל עם. ודתי המלך אינם עושים ולמלך אין שווה להניחם. And they are not keeping the law of the state. They are not faithful to you. What do you mean ודתי המלך אינם עושים? What was the important things for the king, Achashverosh? What was the important things? What laws? the laws that he put, וישם המלך אחשוורוש מס על הארץ ועל איי הים. He needs money. ואת דתי המלך אינם עושים, says the Gemara, that Haman told Achashverosh, the Jews are not paying taxes. They're not paying taxes. Says Achashverosh, what? How could they not pay the taxes? They have to pay the taxes, it's the law. He told them, את דתי המלך אינם עושים, but they are very smart. The IRS of Achashverosh was much, much thorough than the IRS today of America, in America. You cannot just don't pay the law. But the Jews are smart. They didn't pay the law. How? Who should pay the law? The one who's working. They're not working. Because they're not working, they do not have to pay the law. What do you mean they're not working? So told him, Haman, says the Gemara. All what I'm saying, it's not my imagination. I'm quoting the Gemara, but I'm saying in my words. Okay? The Gemara says something very funny. That Haman told Achashverosh that the Jews are not paying taxes. You know why? Because they're not working. At the time, they were working 7 days a week, 24/7, 365 days. Like today in America. I mean, every good, very big and important company, they have three, they work in 24 hours around the clock. Monday morning, I always see it when I'm waking up. I live in Brooklyn. In Queens, I don't think it's a lot of change. Monday morning is the craziest day. Everyone runs to the subway in order to go to the city to work, right? I guess in Queens also. You know what? Many times I went Monday morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. to Borough Park. You see all the streets full of Jews coming out from the synagogues, from the Bet Knesset with the tefillin and talit walking. It's Monday. 10, 11 o'clock. You're not working? Not working. By the way, they're making money. They're not working, but they have businesses that goes anyways. They do not have to come. They go to the kollel to learn a little bit, and then they'll go supervise the workers. But Haman says the following. You see everyone going to work. You see the Jew are not going to work. Ask him, what's going on? Why are you not going to work? So the Gemara says that the Jew will answer, Shahi Pahi. Excuse me, what's Shahi Pahi? What language is this? No language. I mean, it sounds Chinese, but it's not. It's initials. Shahi Pahi. Why are you not going to work? Shahi. What's Shahi? Says the Gemara. It's initials. Shabbat Hayom. Today is Shabbat. Shabbat, I'm not working. You're not working on Shabbat, you're missing 1/7 of the potential salary that you could get. Why? Shabbat Hayom. Okay, fine. You go Tuesday, Wednesday, not Shabbat, right? You see the Jew not working. So, why are you not working today? So the Jew will answer, Pahi. What's Pahi? Pesach Hayom. Shavuot Hayom. They have always excuses why they're not working. So they're not working, therefore they're not paying taxes. So don't worry, you're not going to lose their taxes. They're not paying taxes. What Haman didn't know, that after that, it will add them another day that they were not working, Purim. But, okay, that's what he said. Fine. ולמלך אין שווה להניחם, so let's kill them. So he came to the king. He thought that the king will refuse, and he was surprised. The king said, I don't need your money. Kill them, do whatever you want. He took his ring, gave him to sign, and it was a death penalty, national death penalty. Never, ever in the history of the world something like this happened. Never. That the ruler of the world, it was a dictatorship, but he was the king. The Gemara says that he was one of the melachim that sheshaltu bekippah, that rule all over the world. So can you imagine that Even today, in this corrupt generation, with all the cruelty, could you imagine that the United Nations will go to vote and everyone will agree that one nation, doesn't matter if they're Jews or not Jews, a whole nation, the entire world, will be eliminated in one day. In one day. להשמיד, להרוג ולאבד את כל היהודים ביום אחד. No such a thing ever happened. Why he will agree, how they could agree to such a thing? Just because the ego of Haman, that Mordechai didn't bow down to him? This is crazy. So the entire story is crazy. But the king signed it. And the rule is, כתב אשר נכתב בשם המלך, ונחתם בשם המלך, אין להשיב. It's irreversible. Even the king himself could not reverse it. So could you imagine the decree? Death penalty on the entire Jewish nation. Mordechai heard about this. He called Esther, go to the king, and now tell him that you are Jewish. Says Esther, I could not do this. There are the rules. The rules are you cannot go to the king without appointment. Anyone that go without appointment is going to be killed. Unless the king will give him the shavit hazav, the golden stick. And I don't have an appointment. Told her Mordechai, so sacrifice yourself for the Jewish nation. She said, okay, I'm going to do it. But we have to do some hishtadlut, some preparation. I will not go like this. There's no chance. You go gather together all the Jews and for 3 days make a fast and pray to God. Because without it, there is no chance that we will succeed. And that's what they do. And by the way, remember what Haman says? Yeshno Am Echad, there is one nation, but it's separated. So what was the way to fix it? Knos et kol haYehudim. Put them together. Don't make them separated. Make them gathering together in Bet Knesset, which is a kinus, a gathering, and pray and be connected to Hashem. If you connect to Hashem, you'll be again one nation, and no one could hurt you. And that's what happened. She came to the king. The king was surprised because the king knew that she know that if she will come without appointment, she's going to be killed. So he was really in tension. What caused... It must be so urgent. So he asked her, Esther, what happened? She didn't tell him. Oh, she told him, I was missing you. I want to party. Really? For that you risk your life? She said, yes, I need a party with you. But you know what? Do you mind if Haman will join also? And the king was here, start to be panicking. Why? You missed me, fine. What is the connection to Haman? Why Haman has to be invited? But he didn't ask anything. He didn't ask her even who was her parents. But now he started to become suspicious. Okay? So she invited Haman. It was a party. In the party, the king is so curious. What caused this urgent meeting, risking your life? So he asked her in the middle of the party, what's going on? She told him, you really want to do what? You really like me? You really want to please me? Okay, I have a request for you. Tomorrow night, let's do another party. And this party also bring Haman, and tomorrow I will tell you. Why? Why you don't tell me now? He didn't ask, but that was crossing his mind. What's going on? This party, you risk your life for this party, and tomorrow night another party, and Haman both invited to both. What's going on? Something going on between Haman and Esther. He started to be suspicious. He could not sleep. After the first party, Haman went out. He saw Mordechai not bowing down to him, and he was crazy mad. He went to his home very down. Zeresh asked him what's going on. He said, you do not understand. I'm the most important person in the entire kingdom. The king could not do any party, even a private party with his wife, skipping me. He invited me. I'm so important. But all of this is nothing for me when I see this Mordechai that he is not bowing down. So Zeresh told them, listen, okay, you have already a decree on them that they're going to be killed. But it will take a few months. If you will come every day so depressed, you might get a heart attack before. So I have an advice for you. Make a tree. Gavoa 50 ama, very tall tree. Tomorrow morning, go to the king, and because the king loves you so much, he made you the prime minister, he made everyone bowing down to you, he invited you to his parties, you're so important to him, for sure you're gonna admit that you will hang Mordechai on this tree. He himself, he himself made this tree. Himself, with his own hands. Meanwhile, in the palace, the king could not sleep at the night. What's going on? Why this party? This today, tomorrow, what's going on? Could not sleep. So they brought the diary, and in the diary, he realized that few years ago, 5 years ago, Mordechai, some Jew that he never knew, he doesn't know who he is, but it's written that Mordechai saved the life king, saved the king, the life of the king, by telling him about Bigtan V'Teresh. So he asked his servant, did we reward this guy? They say no. Then he became even more crazy. Because I didn't pay people who wants to save my life, I'm known now like someone that it's not worth to do favors to. For sure something going on over here between Haman and Esther. But no one telling me because they think that it's not worth to inform. So he could not sleep the entire night. In the morning, he gave up sleeping. He heard someone in the hallway. Who is this? Haman. So imagine. He's thinking all night, probably something going on between Haman and Esther. What's going on over here? So he can, okay, bring Haman here. I want to talk to him. So before Haman opened his mouth in order to get the permission to hang Mordechai, the king said, wait a second, I have something to ask you. And you are the man. Listen, there is one person that I really owe a lot to him. And I want to give him honor that no one ever heard before. Because you are in the palace, you understand what honor is. Tell me your opinion. What do you think we should do to someone that the king wants to give him real honor? Now here, it was a test to Haman also. So Haman says the Megillah, Vayomer Haman belibo. He said inside in his heart, Lemi yachpotz hamelech la'asot lekar yoter mimeni. He saw that his eyes, the eyes of the king, are red because he didn't sleep all night. So he thought to himself, this king really go out of his way to please me. He make me prime minister. He make everyone to bow down to me. He invite me to the parties. And now he could not sleep all night because he still think what else I could do for Mordechai, for Haman. So he said, and that was the thing that drive the king even more crazy. Ish asher hamelech hafetz b'ikaro. Someone that the melech really want to honor, yalbishu אותו בלבוש מלכות. The clothing of the king. Put a name. Take the car at the time. סוס אשר רכב עליו המלך. A horse, a royal horse. No one ride a horse of the king. Bring them a horse of the king. And put the throne on his head. A crown on his head. And one of the most important people in the kingdom will go and loud, will scream or announce the entire day, this is the way that the king give to a people that, to a person that he like or want to honor. So King Ahasuerus thought to himself, aha, I see. He knew, it was obvious that Haman thinks that he mean to himself. So the king think, wow, maybe he wants the crown. He wants to be the king himself. He wants to kill me. That's the idea over here. So I have to just put his nose a little bit down. So he told him, listen, I heard what you say, very good. When you go out of the palace, right in the corridor is a Jew by the name Mordechai. You are a very important person, and as you say, you go do this to him. The entire day, announce loud. Could you imagine what happened to Haman at this moment? I don't know how he saved himself from a heart attack. But this is the most not expected thing. So he came to get the permission to hang Mordechai, and the king told him, go do this honor to him. Now Haman knows it's not very good idea to argue with the king. This king is crazy. He killed his wife. If I say a word, he will kill me. So I better do it. So he did it the entire day. Remember, at the end of the day, he has another party to come. So at the end of the day, when he's horsey from calling so loud around the horse that Mordechai was on, he went to his house. His wife saw him depressed. She was sure that Mordechai is hanged since the morning on this tree, but she looked at the tree, it's empty. What happened? So he told her the story. She told him those words. If you started to fall from through this guy, Mordechai, that he's Jewish, forget it. That's exactly the encouraged words that he needs to hear, but he doesn't have any time because the servants of the king came over and said, come on, the party's gonna start, let's go. So he has to get dressed quickly and go. So he said, you know what, it was a very depressed day, but at least party now. Let's calm down. Okay, he went to the party. He went to the party. In the middle of the party, the king could not take it anymore. And he said to Esther, you must tell me what's going on over here. Why you risk your life to come without permission? And what is the meaning of the party yesterday and the party today? And what's happening in the picture? So she told him. She told him, you know, there is a very wicked man that get sneakingly your permission to kill the entire nation. And it just happened that this nation is my nation. You remember, you do not know who am I? Okay, I'm Jewish. You really want to do that? To kill, to eliminate the nation that your beloved wife belonged to? So he was very angry about Haman, about whatever happened. So he went out to take some fresh air. Haman, meanwhile, knew that Zeresh was right. If you start to fall, you're going to fall. And now the king is very mad on him. So what he could do? Just beg Esther, please. So they were sitting not on chairs, but on the floor, on cushions. So he was begging, going down on the floor, bowing down to Esther, please help me. And then the king came in. He saw him in the palace, lying down on Esther. He said, what? Hagam lichbosh et hamalka imi babayit? How dare you? And then Harvona came in the right time and he said, but it's not just this. He made a tree to hang Mordechai that you, the king, thought that he need honor. Now he wants to hang him. Then, Vayomer HaMelech tlu alav, and they hang Haman. Hang Haman. Fine. Happy end. But it's not the end. The king says to Esther, so what's now? I hanged Haman. She said, that's very nice, but there is a problem, constitutional problem. You gave him a permission, and he sent letters to everyone that Yud Gimel Be'adar, the 13th day of Adar, in the next few months, the Jewish nation will be eliminated, and that was signed. in כתב שנכתב בשם המלך ונחתם בטבעת המלך, אין להשיב, it's irreversible, even you could not reverse it. What are we going to do? Hashverosh thought and said, I have a brilliant idea. We will use this law that anything that was written and signed by the king, you could not reverse it. I'll give you the ring. You will write whatever you want on the Jews and sign it. And it will be a sign against sign. But that will be the updated one, and that will what we will do. And that's what happened. And what happened? Bayom, when came the day that Haman wants to kill us, ונהפוכו, אשר ישלטו היהודים בבשונאיהם, just the opposite. And you have to know that the Jews killed, the Megillah says, 75,000. Amalekim, anti-Semites, all over 127 states of the king Ahasuerus, in the same day that they want to kill us. And this is the Nafal. And now let's conclude everything. I mean, the story of the Megillah is known. I just maybe made some emphasis over here, and it's good, it's good. I'm sure that after you heard what you heard tonight, your reading of the Megillah Wednesday night, Bezrat Hashem, will be different, will be upgraded. But the main big story is the following. What happened over here? Take those 9 years, from the 3rd year of the kingdom of the king Ahasuerus to the 12th year. The 12th years was the year when Haman, at the 13th day of Adar, wants to kill the Jews. 9 days. In those 9 days, many things happened.
Yes.
Each one by itself could be random. You know, king, not just king, a person got drunk, killed his wife. It happened, it's happened. Read the newspapers, you'll find it. It's not something unusual. There is a halacha that when you read the Megillah, you are not allowed to talk from the beginning to the end. You have to hear it straight. What's the idea? Megillat Esther in Hebrew, for those of you who understand Hebrew, Esther is the meaning of the word Esther, Beleshon Hester, Hastara, concealment. Megillah is Mileshon Gilui, reveal. It was a concealment, and Megillat Esther is the Gilui Shel Esther, reveal the concealment. So if you read the Megillah, no connection between the two, okay, you know, the king got drunk, killed his wife. Then, Bigtan Vateresh wants to kill the king. Happened in almost every ruler, every dictator for sure, that people wants to kill him. Random. But when Haman is the one, Memuchan, who is the one to convince the king to kill Vashti. And by this, he put Esther as the hanger of him later on. This is amazing. He caused Esther to be the queen. And because of that, he got killed later. He built the tree to kill Mordechai. And he was hanged on the same tree that he built to himself. The Venafohu is amazing. You know, there are too many things that, but each one by itself could be random. But when you see the entire thing, you see the plan of God. This is the revelation of the Megillah, Megillat Esther. Hashem is behind the scenes, but He has plans. And in the Megillah we see it within 9 years. If you read everything together, you'll find out that this led to this, that led to this, this led to this, and this led to the result. Therefore, Megillat Esther and Purim gonna be relevant at the end of the day. You know why? Listen to this carefully. You know why? Because the story of the Megillah for 9 years is the story of the entire history of the world. It's like a very good book, mystery book, that give you event and event and event and event, and you do not know, and you so intention, and the good author give you the solution for all the enigmas at the last page. That's what's going to happen. Megillat Esther is the Giluya Esther at the end of days. Therefore, at the time of the Geula, the real Geula, at the end of days, you will look at everything that happened in the history and everything will be understood. That led to this and that led to this. When you look at them separately, you do not understand anything. Why? How? What? Then when you read the entire story to the end, we have to wait to the end. And we are very close to the end. Very close to the end. And when the end will be, it will retroactive, will explain everything. This is the story of Purim. This is the story of the Megillah. And I guess with this better understanding, our Megillah reading of this year will be upgraded tremendously than the last years. Thank you for listening.
אני בתור לא מבין אנגלית, הבנתי אותך מצוין.